Good afternoon and welcome to Bradenton Kiwanis. Welcome all of our guests, and we're glad to see everybody here. At this time I'll have Andy Miner give us our invocation, and then we'll do the pledge, and we'll sing My Country 'Tis of Thee. Andy?
Pray with me, please. Dear Lord Jesus, I just want to thank you so much for this day. It's a beautiful day. We enjoy this last bit of cool weather here in Bradenton. Help us always to be mindful of the mission of Kiwanis and serve the children of Manatee County. In Christ's name I pray. Amen. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before they sit down, take a picture of everybody waving so they'll see us in the hospital.
My country 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing. Land where my fathers died, land of the pilgrim's pride, from every mountainside, low and free. You want standing or sitting?
Either way.
All right, stay standing. Gilbert has something special.
Our friend Jim Thielen, and member here, is in the hospital, and I'd like all of you, if you would, to wave, and we're gonna send him a good get well picture from all of you. So if you could. Thank you very much.
Okay, if you'd all rise. No? I said if you'd all rise. No, you don't have to. I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
Just practicing?
Yes, just practicing. All right, Sharon has to get to our penguin project, so she'll come up and give us a quick announcement.
Thank you all. The penguin program is ready to soar. As you know, penguins are birds that cannot fly, but we really feel our penguins are going to be able to fly. This Thursday, April 20th, they're going to be at the Bradenton Marauders pregame. They're going to be there at 5:30. They're going to be performing between home plate and first base. So if you like to come out to a baseball game and see some of our penguins, it's going to be both the younger group, age 8 to 22, and the older group, 23 and up to 60 and 70 that will be performing. So hopefully you'll join us. But I wanted to share just a penguin moment. We had one young man in Manatee High School who's in the penguin program. He can barely read his lines. His performance has been very painful for those of us there trying to practice with him. He only has 2 lines. His mom came to pick him up and heard his, I'm going to say dismal performance, because it really was, unfortunately. I went over her to see if she could try and get him to memorize his lines, because we found if they memorize their lines, they're fine. It's their reading really is the issue with them. So that day, we had a person from the Penguin Foundation come. And the mom told me, this is what her words verbally, he sucks. He will never be able to memorize the lines. I'm like, oh, let's see what we can do, right? I'm trying to have a positive attitude. So we took him over, or took the mom over to Kathy Morgan from the Penguin Foundation, and she gave the mom some tips. So then afterwards, like 15 minutes later, the mom came back to me and she goes, you know what? I'm so glad you took me over to talk to Kathy. We're going to really practice those lines. So again, the perception that the disabled cannot do certain things. That's really what the Penguin Project is about, proving to our society that they can do amazing things. So we're very, very excited about that, and hopefully you'll come out and see him perform. He's in the younger group. On your table is flyers. The Penguin program plays are May 14th through the 17th at 7:30. The tickets are only $20, so the cost is very reasonable. Please come out and support our Penguin Project. And also, I just wanted to let you guys know this. In the lobby of the Penguin performances, we're going to do community outreach. We're going to have a table for Bradenton Kiwanis, because so many people don't know all the amazing things Bradenton Kiwanis does, right? So we're going to have a table so people can learn about what we do, such tasks as the Penguin Project. We're also going to have Guardian Ad Litem. We're going to have Safe Children's Coalition, the foster program and the adoption program. In the younger Penguin cast, there's literally 7 foster care kids that are part of that cast, all of them disabled. So again, please come out May 14th through the 17th. The play is only an hour. It truly will change your life as it's changed mine.
Thank you, Sharon. We'll have a club board meeting tomorrow at Fusilli's up on Manatee Avenue at noon. So all those who are on the board and the committee chairs, if you would please be there for that. Appreciate it. We'll have Mike Bear and community service after we start the program piece, and then we'll get going. So enjoy each other's fellowship. We'll be back in 5 to 10 minutes. Thank you. I'm going to stay up here. Keep clapping. The clapping is to get off stage. So. All right, welcome back. It's Bad Hair Day.
Yes, it is.
But you'll get clued in a little bit more as we get closer to our history program. Mike Bear, community service announcements, please. And then Rita will have the guests after that.
Thank you for not sending me the memo on the wigs.
Thank you.
I know where it's coming from. Good day, everyone. I just want to let you know next month is going to be important. We've got a lot of community service going on. As a matter of fact, every Saturday there's something. Well, the first 3 Saturdays. May 6th is going to be Kids Against Hunger at the Palmetto Warehouse for Sunrise Club, and that's going to be in the morning from 8 till 11. And we really do need some volunteers for that. Kids Against Hunger food packing event to finish up our commitment of $50,000. The next weekend is Jerry Hill Kids Fishing Tournament, and that's there at the Green Bridge. We'll meet on the Palmetto side. And we'd like to get there at 7 o'clock from 7 till 11. The week after that is the dedication for our Habitat house up in Palmetto. It's going to be Miss Emily's house, and that's going to be a dedication starting at 10 a.m. So we'd like to get a good turnout from the club at that point. And I will finally mention that next month, the SCF scholarship reviews will be going on. So if you want to get involved, if you've done that in the past and want to do it again, there's an email to reach out to foundationscholarships@scf.edu, and they can give you directions on what to do. And Mac is flashing me.
I'll just mention something. If you haven't done it before, it is really well worth to see all of these individuals that are trying to get assistance to go to school. It's a lot of times it's not what you think. And it only takes a few minutes to go through each one and give your opinion, make the review, and it really does help the scholarship fund. Because they get about 1,500 of these scholarship requests every year. So any little bit that you can help is great.
Yep. But thank you all for your community service. Thanks, Neil.
Who is that? Good afternoon, everyone. We have two guests today. When I call your name, guests, if you would please stand so we could give you a warm Kiwanis welcome. We have Carol Kalinda, Sharon Barhart's guests. And Steve Wilson, Betsy Panak's guests. Thank you for attending today and welcome.
All right, thank you, Rita. Trivia. I'm going to narrow this down to that table. That way I don't have to watch to see who gets it first. Last week's trivia, what profession did our president entertain for his life? I said I'm not taking things from there. It's this table. Okay, Charlie. Everybody else decided they did not want to participate, so you win. Turner Donuts. Thank you, sir. He wishes he had hair like this. All right, I believe it is history time. Mike McCoy, please join us in front in the special chair. This is your life. I think he understands the hair.
I shouldn't have said that.
You will all get clued in momentarily, I am sure. Yes, do we remember that? Yes. All right. As we continue studying the 100 years of Bradenton Kiwanis Club, we left off in 2019. On October 4th, past president Heather Doyle was sworn in as the new Manatee County judge. We had to get you in for another time there. Many club members were on hand to witness her being sworn in by Judge Robert Ferentz. How did Heather get back in the news? What else happened during this year? On October 6th, Mike McCoy was sworn in as the 2019-2020 president of the club, along with the other elected officials, officers, and directors. As a prominent banker in the community with a good-natured personality, he was ready to lead the club. We'll test that good-natured personality today. How did Mike become this sweet, good-natured leader who became the president of the club? Let's find out together. Mike was born on November 25th, 1962 in Rochester, New York, to Patrick and Carol McCoy. He was raised in Manatee County and is the oldest of two children. Mike attended all public schools, including Bayshore High School, where he graduated in 1980. As a youth, he was a natural musician and played in the school marching band. Mike was gifted as a drummer and enthusiastic about music. He was also a member of the BHS Key Club, where he learned the importance of community service. Mike volunteered with Happiness House back then. After he graduated with his Associate of Arts from Manatee Junior College, he graduated with his bachelor's degree in finance from the University of Florida. A Gator. Ugh. At UF, he helped book concerts for students and met many professional musicians. Are we there yet? Yes, that is who you think it is. I don't know who that is. Don't you love every breath you take? Mike also got to meet Weird Al. Now it's all coming into focus for everybody. He then graduated with his master's degree in business administration from the University of South Florida. Mike also graduated with honors and hair from Stonier Graduate School of Banking from Georgetown University. Mike's entire business career has been in commercial banking. He began working for Southeast Bank in Largo, and after a year began work with Chase Bank of Florida in Tampa. After extensive experience in a large metropolitan market, he returned to Bradenton and joined NCNB. That's when he joined the club in 1993. Wow. Mike also worked for First Union National Bank of Florida, served as president of Community Bank of Manatee, and in 2010 as the marketing president of Bank of America. Mike recently joined Valley National Bank as market president Manatee to lead their expansion into his hometown. Mike married Tammy, and they raised a daughter, Melissa. Mike has always been involved with many organizations in the community, including Bradenton Kiwanis Foundation, Manatee County Salvation Army Board, and Guardian Angels of Southwest Florida. The club continued to have interesting and educational programs each week. On October 8th, Mac Aldrich and Jim Thielen shared their experiences at the World Scout Jamboree in West Virginia, timely for today's presentation. On November 5th, at the Veterans Appreciation Luncheon, keynote speaker Sean Brown from Pause for Veterans program, Southeastern Guide Dogs, talked about his military career and how the program helps veterans. His canine pal, Pella, accompanied him to the lunch. Then the following week, Manatee High School Key Club President Madison Burt ran the meeting with Eric Warwick from SCF as the speaker, talking about antibodies resistance crisis. Then on November 19th, at the Farm City Week luncheon, Byron Shen talked about the fishing industry and surprised Karen Bell with the 2019 Agriculturist of the Year award. Club members also participated in 2 events before the end of the year. Lori Fox led a group of volunteers at the Safety Town event. Then on November 16, club members and satellite members, along with Manatee High Key Club members, performed landscaping and other jobs at the Just for Girls location. Into the serious part. By 2020, the population of Manatee County had now increased to just under 400,000 residents. The population of the largest municipalities had increased to 55,698 in Bradenton and over 13,000 in Palmetto. 2020 began like any other year with the club, hosting many interesting and educational programs each week and club members volunteering for a number of projects. In fact, on January 28th, the club presented charitable gifts in the amount of $197,614 to 9 organizations. They were the Pace Center for Girls, Beyond the Spectrum, Boy Scouts of America, Easter Seals Southwest Florida, Girl Scouts of Southwest Florida, Manatee Sunrise for the Kids Against Hunger program, Salvation Army, and State College of Florida. The international news, however, was reporting the discovery of a new disease by the CDC and the World Health Organization, which was a public health emergency of international concern. President Trump declared this new disease, coronavirus, to be a public health emergency in the United States. Even though the coronavirus cases were confirmed in the U.S., except for the healthcare world, business was as usual in Manatee County. The club continued to have weekly luncheon meetings with great programs. Bronwyn Beidel and Carolyn Griffin from the United Way talked about the big plan. Dr. Carol Probstfeld presented Why Should We Care about a quality community college in the area. Craig Warzeka from the Pirates talked about spring training and the games scheduled for that year. On February 22nd, Saturday morning, members of the Satellite Club worked on a house at Manatee County Habitat for Humanity project. But in early March, after 2 cases were confirmed in Manatee County and Hillsborough County, Governor DeSantis also declared coronavirus to be a public health emergency and took steps to protect the citizens of Florida. The WHO then announced that the name of the new disease was COVID-19. The club continued to have in-person meetings because the state was addressing the disease locally and throughout the state. On March 3rd, at a regular meeting, Judge Jim Parker spoke about the excitement for children and adults at the Arcadia Rodeo on March 12th. Then on March 10th, Superintendent Saunders talked about the issue facing the school system in Manatee County. But after that luncheon meeting, the WHO declared the COVID-19 as a pandemic and made recommendations on how everyone should protect themselves. Wear masks, wash hands, stop being around people. We learned what socially distanced people meant. Then President Trump and Governor DeSantis joined in that declaration. Government agencies, schools, and businesses began to shut down and limit the number of people allowed inside buildings. Even the Chief Justice of the Florida Supreme Court issued an administrative order treating the pandemic as an emergency and threat to the courts. Locally, many events were canceled, including an event at the Manatee Performing Arts Center. Mike's term as president began to change dramatically. Life as we knew it would not be the same. The following week, on Monday, March 16, the club cancels all future luncheon meetings. Wow. Then the next day, Governor DeSantis orders more closures, restaurants and bars. On the same day, club officers met on a conference call and discussed the situation. The priority was to make sure that all members and their families were safe. The membership checked on everyone on a regular basis. It was a difficult time for everyone, but with Mike as president, everyone stayed positive and optimistic. The club officers continued to meet over the phone on a weekly basis. Yes, that's how we did it, and discuss how to keep the club functioning. They knew this situation would be temporary. Now you know what Mike was wearing during those meetings. All speakers and programs were canceled until further notice. The decision was consistent with the decisions made at the theater. Secretary Mac Aldrich continued to write and publish a weekly newsletter and to send to all members online, keeping them current on all club news as news from Kiwanis International. And remember the Where's Mikey game? Mac also included information for everyone on how to stay safe during the pandemic. On April 1st, Governor DeSantis issued a stay-at-home order for the entire state, so the closures were extended. In the April 5th newsletter, President McCoy included a message notifying all members of the state of affairs and that the club would be exploring ways to continue having meetings in a virtual format. He included a quote from Philippians 4, verses 6 and 7. After considering the lack of alternatives, the club officers decided that the weekly luncheons and board of directors meeting would continue on the social media platform Zoom. Therefore, on April 21st, history was made again when the club resumed its weekly luncheon meetings on Zoom, and we had over 40 members of the club on that first meeting. The program that day was a variety of subjects from the club officers and included Steve Litchauer from the Manatee County Emergency Center talking about helping residents in Manatee County during the pandemic. It was a successful meeting, and with so many members participating by Zoom, the club would continue meetings in this manner, at least temporarily. In the next weeks, we hear from many great and relevant speakers. Dr. Heidi Radunovich talking about disaster-related stress and mental health during the COVID-19 pandemic. Janine Emick led everyone on a virtual backstage tour of the Performing Arts Center. We get those every fourth Tuesday now. Don Stanhope spoke about how the Boys and Girls Club continued to inspire youth during this time. Sheriff Rick Wells spoke about how the COVID-19 pandemic has affected law enforcement and to lock your cars. Recurring theme. Chief Judge Kim Bonner spoke about how the pandemic affected the courts. No speedy trials, and a special program by Nikki Freed, Florida Commissioner of Agriculture, who spoke about how COVID-related issues affected farmers and consumers in Florida. After a few months, the club got creative and continued its meetings on Zoom, but with a twist. After business and announcements, the program switched to a hybrid system on Vimeo live stream set up here at the Performing Arts Center, where Janine moderated political forums between candidates for various districts 1 and 3. The forum was a huge success, featuring an unorthodox style of questions moderated by Janine. Unorthodox, is that you? We also had more political forums in this fashion. Commission Districts 5 and 7, Manatee County judges, and state attorney. By August, Governor DeSantis had rescinded his stay-at-home orders, and government agencies and many businesses were back in business with certain restrictions. The club again changed the format of the meetings, and by August 18 was having meetings back at Kiwanis Hall with limited attendance and many members wearing masks. The meeting was held as a hybrid meeting with most people attending via Zoom. How about those great box lunches? Remember those? On that day, Sherrod Halliburton spoke about community perspectives and practices. Then we continued with other good programs. Dennis O'Malley talked about the primary election and the general election in November. Susie Bowie talked about the exciting things going on at the Manatee Community Foundation. Then we had a special program on September 15th with Dr. Jennifer Bency having a conversation with Janine about the impact of COVID-19 on Manatee County and its citizens. This luncheon again was via Vimeo. And on September 29th, Angel had a conversation with Janine on Zoom about how COVID-19 has affected the clerk's office. After Mike's term as president ended, he continued to stay involved with the club, but he stayed primarily at home until later in 21. Once the risks of contracting COVID-19 declined, Mike has returned to the luncheon meetings on a regular basis. Thank you, Mike, for all you've done for the club and the community. We will see you all next week when we talk about our 2020-2021 year. Who served as president? We haven't seen her in a while. Have you? Guess not. All right, at this time, I'll have Mike Baer please come up and present our program for the day.
Thank you, Neil. Love dressing up in my scout uniform. You know, feels good. Still fits from many years ago. But we've got, I am the district chair for the Scouts the last year and a half, and it's been really my pleasure to get involved again with scouting, with, you know, Boy Scouts. Now it's both boys and girls in the program, which is pretty cool because we did have the first female Eagle Scout, one of the very first in the whole country just last year. But our district is growing thanks to the leadership of Charles that I'll introduce in just a moment. And we're doing some great things for kids. Dawn was great stand-up over at Boys and Girls Club. We've got a joint program going for Manatee Elementary right now with Scouts and the Boys and Girls Club collaborating on a program. And Mac Aldrich and his wife are very active in that. Thank you, Mac. But everybody's really steps up to get things going. And, you know, I brought something from many years ago, okay, over here. And I was just thinking, you know, the bugle, a very primitive instrument, one step up from probably a shell with a little cutout in it. But, you know, in military times, it's always been used when we've got wars going on. It's to call the troops to order, to get everybody organized, right? It's letting them know, hey, something's going on. You better show up for this. And Charles Vonderheide is the CEO CEO of our council that's down in Fort Myers, and I've been very pleased to have known Charles for about a year now. He's really taken the ropes. He's really taken charge of the leaders and the youth that are served. And here in Manatee County, we've got 22 units. But I am going to pull off a bugle call. Sorry for those in the front row here, but you know, Charles is here, so I figured there's no better way of doing it than a little call. That means here comes the boss, Charles von der Eyes.
Wow, that's a hard act to follow right there. Thank you all for allowing me to say just a few words today. It is my privilege to serve as the Scout Executive and CEO of the Southwest Florida Council. We serve 11,000 youth and families in the 7 counties we serve. I have now been here a year and 3 months and 1.5 hurricanes. So I'm not quite sure I get my Floridian badge, but it's awful close. But in all seriousness, the BSA has been we faced some pretty substantial headwinds, both literally and figuratively this past year. But I would like to report that the state of scouting is very strong. On your table is our annual report summary. I draw your attention to the fabulous document. But just real quick highlights. We had a 20% membership growth in our Cub Scouts. Cub Scouts is age or kindergarten through 5th grade. The little guys in blue uniforms. We have Scouts BSA, which is age 11 to age 18. We have venturing, which is co-ed, age 14 to 21. Rock climbing, rappelling, whitewater rafting, anything you can see on the X Games, that's what venturers do. Then we have exploring, which is career-based, real-world work experience for youth. That's also age 14 to 21. We have explorer clubs, which were middle school-based, in-school career education programs. And then we have our Learning for Life program, which serves just over 15,000 youth in the Lee County School District. That is in-school curriculum-based character education that we deliver free of charge to over 15,000 students in Lee County. Whew, having said all of that, Kiwanis is a global organization of volunteers dedicated to improving the world one child and one community at a time. I've been a Kiwanian for over 26 years. I am currently a member of the Fort Myers Club. We meet at Mission Barbecue, and I eat way too much for lunch. So I love lunch clubs, so thank you very much for inviting me. But Kiwanis has been an integral part of scouting, not only here locally, but nationally as well. Kiwanis ranks in the top 10 of charting organizations nationally. Those are community groups, in effect, purchase scouting to serve their kids. So Kiwanis has a long history, specifically here in Manatee County in Bradenton. I was jokingly saying at Camp Flying Eagle, I think 2/3 of the building have a Kiwanis name on them. And somebody else was telling me about 2/3 of the members have been or went to Camp Flying Eagle, and I wouldn't doubt that as well. But scouting is alive and well. Like as I mentioned, we had a 20% gain in our Cub Scout membership, and that's our entry-level program. And that's where most families get their exposure to scouting is through Cub Scouts. How many of you have built a Pinewood Derby or helped somebody build a Pinewood Derby car? Absolutely. We've had over 100 million young people come through our program in the 113 years we've been around. Camp Flying Eagle, anybody, when it was its first camping season, what year?
1928.
1929.
Sorry.
Matt was there in 28.
He was. I'm not going there, but we have fabulous volunteers. As I said, we serve 11,000 youth and families, and those Cub Scouts are led by a den leader, a mom or dad, a grandma, grandpa, aunt, uncle, somebody who wants to help the youth. And those group of 6 to 8 youth get to experience things like how to tie knots, how to build Pinewood Derby cars, how to be empathetic towards others, how to learn leadership skills, work as a team. There's some information in the annual report from the Tufts University, did a study about scouting. And scouts by far are significantly more successful, have higher graduation rates, have less They don't get arrested as much. They don't go to the principal's office. They have higher household incomes. They live longer. So scouting in general is by far America's best investment. And I appreciate the club's opportunity to help fund what scouting is doing. And one of those pieces, which is a very vital piece to our program delivery, is our dining hall. And we've got some fabulous photos here. Camp Flying Eagle Dining Hall. I would say a few years ago, if we would have improved it by 50%, we would have just got to suck. We have deferred maintenance in the BSA nationwide since the 70s. Boy Scout councils are not really famous for funding depreciation and keeping things in the tip-top shape. But as long as I sit in the seat that I sit in, we've made a commitment that our properties are going to be ready not only for our current customers, but for the next 100 years. And one of those, the pivotal other than the leaders' lounge where the coffee's at, the dining hall is probably the second most important facility on the property. And so I think I know for sure the vinyl floor had asbestos in it. And everybody knows asbestos is bad. And I don't know how long we knew we had asbestos in the floor, but I was like, that we're not subjecting anybody anymore to that. So we made a commitment that we were going to fix it. And thanks to the club's generous donation of $25,000, that got us to where we needed to be, plus other fundraising, to make sure that we had a quality and safe building, again, currently, and something we're going to be able to use. So that beautiful flooring there had asbestos in it. And if anybody's ever removed asbestos from a building, anybody ever had that fun? It's a lot of fun. But we had great volunteers. We worked with the local municipalities, and we got that place gutted. I don't know if you got any of the gutting photos, but we went down to the studs on the building. It was very interesting, too. It's a little forensic, kind of seeing the different types of building techniques used over the years on this building. We begged, borrowed, and stealed labor and materials, and so it showed. I think there were several parts of the building that had 5 or 6 different types of 2x4s, different sizes, nailed together in ways that probably was not code, but we got it done. So one of the biggest pieces was, again, one, to make it safe. So we removed all this asbestos from the building. We removed all the old wall paneling. We removed all the old decorations. And if anybody's ever done food service and been run a dining hall, it's amazing how much the inspectors don't like stuff hanging on the walls and on the ceilings. That's where the bats and the birds and the bugs can hide. So making sure that we had a facility that was safe, that was a big part of that process. So gutting the building and getting the labor to do that was vital. But we did have to pay to dispose of that material because we weren't just going to throw it in the dumpster. So a Scout's a good steward of the facility. So you can just start cycling through there. We got hundreds of pictures of taking things down. And again, it's much like sedentary layers of stuff. Oh, let's put it in the dining hall. Oh, let's put it in the dining hall. Oh, we'll just put that up on the wall in the dining hall. It's amazing how many things ended up in that dining hall. But one of the other things, too, is as part of the modernization was insulation. The building didn't have insulation. I know we're in Florida, but I'm a kid from Detroit, and you wanted insulation. Even if you have air conditioning, you want insulation. So we insulated the building, the walls and the ceiling, and our utility bills instantly almost were cut in half because we were pumping in air conditioning into basically a very drafty building. So we saved some significant money in insulating, putting in a drop ceiling, putting in LED lighting, and updating the property significantly. Again, the walls, insulated the walls, new wall boards, new doors, extensive. There's that fabulous checkered floor that had asbestos in it. But the drop ceiling, the LED lights, it's very bright. It's very welcoming. Not saying that the old dining hall wasn't welcoming, but it's some place that you can come to and feel like it's built and it's going to sustain the wear that kids and adults are going to give it, as well as outside groups that want to come and use a very nice facility that has the most up-to-date AV equipment, lighting. We've got, much like here, we got brand new TVs and projection equipment. So outside groups, we're going to be able to leverage this property to help make it an income generator rather than something we just throw money into. And that's all on behalf of the Bradenton Kiwanis Club. You are going to allow the Southwest Florida Council and Camp Flying Eagle to operate at a level we haven't since probably its last capital campaign, which was in 1955. And so I want to thank you on behalf of those 11,000 youth and families for your investment in scouting. You're going to allow that all those new Cub Scouts that we've onboarded last September and will again in this September to have a facility that we can be proud of and they can be safe in. So again, on behalf of the 11,000 youth and families of the Southwest Florida Council, thank you for your investment in scouting, and I'd be happy to field any questions that you have at this time. We do have Weeblos, yes. Weeblos is a program for 4th and 5th graders. Back in the day, they were the Lions. Cub Scouts started out as 2nd graders. They went 3rd and 4th grade, but there was no transition between them and the Scout BSA program. So back in the late 40s, early 50s, the Weeblos program, which is an acronym for We Will Be Loyal Scouts, was created. And 4th and 5th graders go through the Weeblos program. All right, but I'll leave you with this. Dove chocolate tastes way better than its soap. So.
Thank you very much, Charles. On behalf of the club, we usually give away, and last year you received the golden ruler,
yes.
Okay, to measure the future success of scouting, and you've done a fantastic job. And I would like to present you with the 100th coin. Oh, okay? Very welcome.
Thank you. Here.
All right, good
back
deal.
up a little. Here, hold the coin.
You can.
I'm not sure you're going to present the cornet.
Be fine. Well, I was going to give him the Loyal Order of the Bugle, but I don't think it's a real thing. Listen, yes, sir. I want to let everybody know that our very own John Vita, who's in the audience, is going to be recognized this year for the Good Scout Award. This is the big, throughout the council, it's the big event here in Manatee County. It's going to be right here in Kiwanis Hall, and John is being honored on Friday, May 12th, starting at 6:30 as the 11th Annual Distinguished Citizen Good Scout Award. So, John, congratulations in advance for that. And there are quite a few tickets available, so we can get them online. You can go to the Southwest Florida Council, and you can pull up the events, and that's where you will find it. Thank you all, and am I allowed to ring the gong? Meeting adjourned.
All right.